Heroes podcast, and we're back again. Apparently, we're only on Twitch because we're having a bit of an issue this week, so I'm having to manually record the episode for YouTube. And we are live. And well, our first topic of today's episode is and will be the wonderful, amazing. I think you recommend it as well, Jax. This.
Oh, 100.
100%. This is the first topic today because I'm gonna need to get this over and done out of the way. Like there's no doubt about it in this case.
No, I mean we are both very much happy with what we're watching at the moment with Alien Earth. I did have a moment at work today where one of my colleagues, who's a bit of a geek like me,
You're not a geek, Jax.
I mentioned to him, I was like, we have our things. I was like, yay, have you seen the new Alien Earth yet? Or Alien, yeah. And he was like, looked at me, he was like, in what? And I was like, Alien Earth. What, from the movie Alien? I was like, yeah. He went, I've got to admit something here. I thought, what? I've never seen an Alien movie before. And I looked at him and he was like, I'm really sorry. I was like, do you want my Amazon? I have them all.
Have them all.
Like, no, I don't. And then, which he then followed it up with, I've also never seen Star Trek Lord of the Rings.
What?
Yeah, and Godfather. And I was like, I beg your pardon?
He's never seen Lord of the Rings or Godfather.
Now, I've got to say, Lord of the Rings, as much as
you are so loud,
because I have seen it many, many, many times.
Yeah.
Of all the ones of movies that people say you have to watch, they're actually the three I don't think you know. They're not my major icons, but yeah, it was just so weird. He's got such an extensive knowledge.
Yeah. It is one of those things, yeah. If anyone in the chat feels free to ask questions, I have literally got the chat open as well, so I can see questions. Yeah, Alien Earth is just... Okay, can we just talk about the first episode? Like, the whole concept of this series is there are three ways... Like, the start of the series is there are three ways to achieve immortality. Is what it is, like that opening little scroll that we get of, and the future of humanity will either be synthetic synths, cybernetics, cyborgs, or transhumanism, basically. Becoming more than human, as in humans transferring from human bodies to synthetics. We'll either be replaced by the things we create, synthetics, AI, the robots. Will either be replaced by cyborgs or replaced by people that have basically evolved past being human, who have evolved to cyberspace or evolved to, seriously, that whole concept, the start of this series is brilliant, and it's like the fact that what was it you said about the main guy, like about Prodigy? What was it you said about him? The kid.
Many things.
Kid Prodigy. What's the way you described him? Is like the creepy Elon Musk guy, and I'm like, but Elon Musk's already creepy.
Yeah. I mean, he's got that. Yeah, he reminds me of a bit like a mix between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
He's that, and it's that arrogance. It's like when he's sitting there talking to. Also, just a quick shout out here: the fact that Aid Edmondson is in this as a main character.
Mm-hmm.
I love Abe Edmondson. Him and Rick Mayall are two of my comedy heroes. So to have him in this doing a straight role, man, I am so happy. And also he's the guy basically that when the head of Promethean was like, I need someone intelligent to talk to. And they was like, well, what about this guy? He knows information. He doesn't know what I want to talk about. He's the nuts and bolts guy. So yeah, there's that. I mean, the arrogance of him in that conversation is like, this isn't about money. This isn't about wealth or being the biggest or the best. This is because everyone I meet is too stupid for me to have a proper conversation with. I'm going to make an intelligent enough person for me to talk to,
Yeah.
because you're all worthless.
You're all worthless, and I love him. He's brilliant.
That just
Yes.
for me, just like, that is the flavour I get off of both Elon Musk and Zuckerberg. I mean, and you know, I used to be a big supporter of Musk. I used to love what he was doing.
I think let's be absolutely honest, right? Before Musk basically showed his true colours, I think most people were, because he was like, it's the guy that's going to save, like, solve world hunger and going to take us all to Mars and all this stuff and all that, and then he just went off the rails.
He had all the potential of being Tony Stark, and what we got was Hammer.
Yeah, we got Justin Hammer instead of Tony Stark, because he's not fit to be Lex Luthor, because Lex Luthor does some good in trying to kill Superman, and it's kind of funny that he does. But
I mean, even like, yeah, I guess, I mean, yeah, once again, like, at least Lex Luthor's goal is at least to have humanity be on top. Like, he wants to be the guy on top making the money. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
and having a way of control. But he's not going to be the guy that's going to end up blowing up the planet. You know?
No, he's not.
That's one of the things I find quite well. Saying that, I mean, the recent movie, I know we've talked about this, did actually show his complete anger issues. And actually, yeah, no, he would destroy a planet. I'll shut up. He would destroy a planet just to be petty.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't mean to, but he would.
We've
seen him do it.
We've seen him do it. He is legitimately he is a menace. It is, Lex Luthor is a goddamn fucking menace, but in that film. But like in Aliens Earth, it's like we are introduced to the, like, I like the opening is we're introduced to this crew, this, like, you know, like little tidbits of the crew, you know, that are on the ship before, like, at the start. We meet Morrow, who's like the security officer. We also meet like a synth who keeps watching one of the other ones when they sleep.
Yep.
And
great misdirect, I thought.
Yeah, and it's like it's being told off not to do this, and we meet, you know, like the crew's got we know that something's going to happen. This crew's like gathered a bunch of life forms and stuff apparently from their experiment. They're a science ship. They've been on a mission to gather loads of life forms and stuff. So that's what they've been doing. They're on the way back to Earth. And then we are introduced to Wendy. I'm saying Wendy because that's the character name that she has, you know, for like the rest of the show. I can't remember the name, her actual name, the original name that she has.
It begins with M. I think it does get mentioned in the last episode because the little Indian kid gives away who she is.
Yeah. Well, in the episode 2 got me, yeah. But it's like, you get... like in it, you get that sort of thing in that situation. You get when it's like these little kids. You meet this little girl who's basically got I think it's cancer or something, where she's going to die from whatever she's got. It's terminal illness. There's no cure for it, and it's so. And you introduce Timothy Olyphant's character, who is playing who's a synth, and I love him. And we are both convinced that he is a replicant and not a synth, because he acts way too human to be any of the synth characters we've ever seen. More so than David does. That's the weird thing. He acts human with the level-headedness of like someone like Roy from the fucking original Blade Runners, and like of the replicants that are described in Blade Runners. And it feels like this is Ridley finally going, yeah, they're connected. They are really connected. Tyrell Corporation is actually a thing was a thing in this universe. But also, I love the great thing of the start of this episode. We got how the world works, how Earth is actually divided.
Yes,
it's divided into corporations. Like it's the corporations that own it.
And they really did. And this is one of the great things about the exposition that they did in this, because sometimes exposition can be just let's hammer information to the viewer quickly just so we can get it out of the way. And if you're actually watching, before you do get that bit of an exposition dump about everyone, in the background, the first time they all get out of stasis, there is actually a conversation with two people playing cards, discussing who owns what and where, and then later on you get it's quite an interesting.
I like that. It's like the kid hasn't even passed his geo studies, like This kid, he's like quite literally, this is a kid that has been like, he's like fresh, young, and he's just been like, yeah, you're indentured, go do this ship. Get on this, you're in this crew now. That's your job. That's what you got to do. You don't have a proper education. You're just doing this job. Join this crew. You're expendable. And it's like,
so yeah. I mean, it really is such a great version of the alien landscape.
oh yeah, we get to see how Earth has changed. We get to see how and then we're introduced to the Prodigy like corporation, who's the fifth company that owns parts of the Earth. This new company, this and Prodigy's all owned. Prodigy's whole thing is basically transferring the human consciousness into a cybernetic body, and strangely, the process only works on kids.
Yes, and they say it's because their minds are more flexible and easier to adapt to the bodies. And I get that. I mean, that has actually been a trope in a few different.
It's a common sci-fi trope that children's minds are more easily to transfer from humans, and they're given from going from kids. Wendy, who is actually 12 years old at the point of when she's dying, is given. They're all given adult bodies, and his explanation for it is because synthetic bodies don't grow.
Yes, and I think that was once again great.
I also love that all of their names and everything, they are named after the Lost, like members of the Lost Boys.
Yeah, and the actual group themselves is called the Lost Boys. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did, and they call themselves the Lost Boys as well. But it's like, we're introduced then after Wendy's like that. We're introduced to Wendy's like adjust to a new body. They're going to bring in more, like some more. Is it 5 others? I can't remember. Is it 4 others?
Yeah, so she's now in charge of basically
preparing the others
for these new. Yeah,
preparing the others, and we're introduced to the others, and one girl's in a wheelchair, and I love the questions that the kids have are so innocent though. They are so, like of just, well, what like one of them going, will I be able to walk in this new body? Yes. Will I be able to do this? Yes. Like they're all just, will I have superpowers? Yes. It's like will we be able to go see our parents? No. And that's you get the darkness part of it. That is the inherent Aliens universe is a dystopia. It's not this utopic universe. It's a dystopia. Yeah, these kids they've been sold by their families essentially. This is their families. As far as I said, I'll never get to see my kid again. But for the best of my knowledge, at least that they have a chance of possibly a chance at having a new life, a new a chance at.
That's
more
kind
life
of what they've done there, yeah. And it is. And I mean, there's a bit of a discussion later on about exactly that. It's like, but we went to your funeral. And she's like, but Dad knew.
Well, that was episode 2, that part, because it's only episode 2 where she finds him.
Well, no, it's episode 3 when they actually have that conversation, because episode 2 is where he gets dragged down, and in episode 3 they're looking.
Episode 3 is where he's dragged down. Episode 2 is the one where she finds him, because she only finds him at the beginning of episode 2.
Fair enough, I've got me.
Because episode 1 ends with them arriving at the scene and her going off, and with them arriving at the scene as he gets trapped in the elevator, basically. Because episode 2 is where he gets trapped in the elevator. Remember, episode 1 is where he gets trapped in the elevator. Episode 2 is where we see one of my favourite scenes, which I think we'll get to that in a bit, but. I love that then we're cut back to, like, as we're seeing these kids, like, each of the kids, like, lay down for the same process she lays down, and then, next it's her and the person that went for, the first one, then her and the other 2, and them all standing, to, like, wait, basically, like, sort of, it does evoke that kind of religious vibe of them all waiting for the next one to, be reborn, basically, which is very much an alien trope, an alien thing, and it's, like the imagery, and then I do like in between that we're getting like these cuts of everything on that ship that we saw earlier going to fucking hell. Like the crew, like you got the first shot we get of the ship again is literally of one of the cryopods with covered in blood with a hole through the chest through it, and then it's like, then we get that was great. It's just, and then you get like you get the doctor's body, like in one scene, like it cuts the doctor's body, who's just desiccated, and we're like, why is it desiccated, etc. And like you've seen all this, and then and then we get to the the ship approaching Earth, and we get to Morrow in the. I think this is the scene you described really well, and it was like really. It is unsettling, and I agree with you. It is a fully unsettling scene of Morrow locking himself in the mother chamber in Mother's chamber.
Yeah.
Reviewing the last orders.
In the impact pad.
No, before the impact. As he's locking himself in, the fact that he's got one of his crewmates banging on the window.
Yeah. And I mean, this scene was this is the most scariest I've ever actually seen the Xenomorph. And it's just for one simple throwaway thing.
Yeah.
The woman's banging on the door, and he's in there like literally locking the place down, getting ready to crash the ship. And she gets killed by the Xenomorph, and then it walks backwards. And as it comes to the window, and it's walking backwards, that's as it turns its head, and it would and like I say, because I think it's because it's a motion and a tracking motion we've not seen from the Alien before.
Yeah.
In that way, it made it so damn creepy. I was like, nope. That is a nope moment for me.
It was just what the fuck? Why is this thing just straight up like it's just walking backwards? It's not even like I know you're there. I'll deal with you in a minute. This person.
I don't need to deal with you yet. You're locked in there. I've got this one here. I'm coming back to you, and it's a level of singular intelligence that we've not actually seen before.
Well, we have seen it slightly. We have seen this sort of a level of similar intelligence in only one film. Because I will admit, both the first film and the third film, which are my two favourites, do only portray it very much as an animal.
Yeah.
Whereas the second film has them cut the power in the middle of it because they understand that cutting the power will unnerve the humans and give them more access to the facility. It's the second film has them straight up ambushing them and outsmarting them in that film. Because if you pay attention to that, the decisions the Marines actually make after the initial, when they've got no information, they're going in blind section, when they go into the hive blind, every decision they make after that point, the survivors, is actually the smartest decision they could possibly make at that point.
Yeah.
Of send the synthetic to go and get remote control the dropship because they won't bother with the synthetic because it's not a potential host. Lock this place down, set sentry turrets at the only entry points we know of, etc. And you know what I mean? At these tunnels that lead from the terraforming plant to us to, block them off as much. Barricade that corridor, and that corridor. You know what I mean? Like, they do all the smartest decisions, apart from, what Burke's sabotage attempt. But they do actually do all the smart decisions in that film, and the aliens outsmart them. Because they didn't think of the ceiling vents. They didn't think of, all the other stuff, the crawl spaces and stuff, because they were like, oh, they're just animals. They're not. They were intelligent. It's like the last time we've seen intelligence from them, generally, in my opinion, in the movies wise, is Aliens. Is when we saw them being intelligent.
And that's when we also saw them use pack tactics and hive tactics in that one as well. They were en masse. Yeah. In the other two films, it is more of a stealth hunter because it's on its own against. In the second film, hundreds of people. Yeah.
But also in the second film, they understand that it's. In the second film, they also understand these aren't like the colonists; these are armed. They've killed some of us. We need to outsmart them.
And it's like, and that's why the movement and stuff and the actions on this one is actually a little bit weird. And you mentioned this as well. I mean, you mentioned it before. I had noticed it really because I was an episode behind. But actions are very different.
So different, like this, and we go from that of this thing of like it's trying to get into the pod as he's like, and as the ship crashes, the ship crashes. Obviously, he's not in an EEV. He's not escaping the ship. He's stuck in like a impact chamber designed for one person to survive the crash, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And probably usually a synthetic. It's usually just probably designed for the synth to survive.
This is where we sort of have a weird schism here because. I think he is, like I say, I don't think he's a synth. I think he's a cyborg.
No, Morrow is a cyborg. Morrow is a cyborg. Yeah. He straight up says that. He straight up says that in the scene when he pulls out the arm gun the first time. He straight up says he's a cyborg. Like he gets called a cyborg by what's his face? By Wendy's brother.
Yeah. See, I remember. When he meets the two guys tied up, and one guy says, "Look at his arm. I think he's a cyborg." That's the bit I remember it being sort of mentioned in that first episode.
Although
it was if he was just a synth, he wouldn't have needed the oxygen mask.
No, he was a cyborg.
So there is some biological element to him because he needs.
Yeah, he's a cyborg. It's straight up in like we know he's a cyborg. Morrow is a cyborg because that's why he only has the one weird arm. Yeah, because that's why it deliberately mentioned at the start of the 3 different ways of becoming immortal was, synthetics replace us, cyborgs, or transcendence. Because the theme is going to be the 3 different types of, in the what's his face, the synth, in Oliphant's character, the synth. Wendy is, like the leader of these basically new humans, if you think about it, and Morrow is like the cyborg, is the other side of what humanity could become in this universe. It's like it's the 3 wet paths to, as they call it, immortality, but it isn't immortality. It's but
it's something else.
Yeah, but it's that first episode. We then have the ship crashing, and that scene when it crashes is so good. Is so good. Of just seeing the ship just fly, like as you just watch from like we're looking at Wendy's brother basically at this point, who we find out is a medic in the military. He's grown up, so it's been years. Like these kids have all. It's been years since like Wendy was first, which would explain why Wendy's the more mature of the lot of them, because it's been years since Wendy was first turned, and I feel the kids were only turned recently. That's why they're still childish. She's.
And that's why I think she's got different abilities to the others as well.
Yeah. And it's like she's been turned, Wendy and her has been turned, and it's like, it is, like, in all seriousness, like, it's just, we find out he's a medic. We watch that ship, as you watch it crash, and just the people, and like, it is horrific because you're seeing all these people getting murdered and stuff as the ship hits a building and just knocks things down before crashing into that tower. Into that big, massive, like, I want to say twin towers, because that building was literally just like a two twin towers next to each other. It crashed in between the 2 of them, which is a bit of iconography, I feel.
One thing to point out that I noticed, and I haven't seen anyone else notice this yet, so this is a me thing. In that scene you're talking about, when the building comes down and, like, in front of the doctor, the bricks just completely crush that guy.
Yeah.
In the scene behind that, there's a guy on fire. Now, from the moment you first see him on fire to the point where he's doing his thing, the first part of it, you can see him doing the wind sidestep, which is when they set you on fire, you have to keep moving because you need to keep the flames away from your face, basically.
Yeah.
And you see him do this weird, like, sidestep all the way to his mark point, and then he starts going, ah! I was like, oh shit. They filmed him getting into position.
From just an accidental catch in the thing.
And I think they accidentally set him on fire too early before the scene was ready for him to be on fire. So he had to literally run to his position like this weird crab step. And I just found it very funny.
I didn't notice that one, but
it took me out of the scene, but it was funny.
Yeah. But then we get the first responders on scene, and we get the ship crashed, and the first responders are on scene going into this. And I love the way that we are introduced. Like, we're going through this, you're getting through this, we're seeing, Morrow wakes up, Morrow's like, finding his way out. But I do love that we are, as the medic, as he goes through, I love the subtle things we keep seeing. This is where I was going, it's where I first put out, it's acting weird. Because we keep seeing bits where he does something, and then immediately the xenomorph is literally behind him, just not attacking. Like, you'd expect to attack them, but it's not. It's just watching, and it's
waiting for its moment. Yeah,
and it's like, okay, this is actually genuinely different, because every other time we've seen them in the movies, they've always been, even though like in Alien, it's an ambush predator, but it was ambushing the crew one by one, taking them out. And in Aliens, it was killing prisoners left, right, and center in the morgue, and generally because they were all unarmed, and it realized it was after the morgue attack, it realised it was the dominant predator in that area. The prisoners stood no chance. But at this point, it's like it's gone into a different mode completely, because it's not just hunting, it's stalking, actively stalking its prey. It's like, because even in Alien, it was an ambush hunter. It wasn't, I'm stalking you. It just ambush the crew members one at a time without stalking them.
We had this conversation, discussed about this the other night,
Yeah.
and it's like its intention, because it slaughters some, and seems to be taking some away. And like so, in different movies, we've seen different behaviours for each situation. And like I said to you, we were discussing the other day, so this seems to me like it's resource gathering and resource management. It knows that there's these other alien creatures that need human bodies to do their thing, which means it's got less food and resources to do its thing. So it's removing what the other things can use, so they have got less resources, whilst hoarding the few for itself.
Yeah, it's hoarding the strongest. It seems to be picking the strongest for as hosts and taking the weakest for, and exterminating the weak, which is really odd. Which is like a behavior we've not, as you said, we've not seen it before, and it is very much. This isn't an animal anymore. This is
similar to this. Was in the second film in the special edition cut, the director's cut, in which you do see quite a few people, including the company man, has been moulded to the wall as an incubation unit, not just left around like Kane. So yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good. So many levels.
Yeah, it's straight up. It's like, and then in the second we encounter, like, as the rescue team's going through the ship, we get Wendy wants to lead the the team into go and help people, and I love it because it's like if you when you pay attention, this is what I noticed with the characters generally is Wendy is the most human out of all of the Lost Boys. The others seem to be losing their humanity, and I'm realizing why they're losing it. And I think I said this to you the other day, was the reason I think they're losing it.
I agree with you on this point, by the way.
Is that they gave her access to keep an eye on her brother because she was the first, because it was, she was on her own for so long. They gave her special access to, look after, to keep an eye on her brother. And because she's got that connection, that even just looking after him and looking for him, like, she still maintained that humanity, that curiosity, whereas the other kids are kind of just like embracing the fact they're kids and they're just grown up bodies and that, and they're not.
The fact now that all their peers around them are the same as them.
Yeah, they're just embracing it, whereas she's like still wants to learn and everything. The only other one that isn't like that is it Lip? I think her name is. Lip's the ginger one. The other one, the other black-haired one. I forgot her name. Crawley.
I know, I'm still learning the names. Yeah,
Crawley. That's it. Who in episode 3 we see her actually be start being the person that that Kid Prodigy can have a conversation with, because she's willing to learn. She taught herself French. She's like willing to learn everything. But not just her, but like in the second episode in that first episode we get the brilliant introduction to the xenomorph, like, properly, when he's like him and 2 of his companions have gone back into the building. They're going to go jump down some stairs, jump across this gap breaking the stairs to get to the next floor, and his 2 companions do it, and as he goes to do it, he just steps back and all you see is just the spit just land on his shoulder. And as he looks up, you just see the xenomorph slowly emerging from it. And it's like, and that scene is so good, of him just jumping across, failing, and as he falls, running into the elevator and closing the door. You know what I mean?
Oh, the movement as well of the. I mean, I've mentioned the movements, but actually the fluidity of how the whole thing just moves around as well.
The best part is not all of it is CGI. Quite a few shots are
costume.
It's the old school dude in the costume again, and I'm like, yeah, whoever's playing this thing, your movements being the way they are so good. It's genuinely terrifying. It is actually like
mocap. There is one part. I mean, everyone mentions this when it comes to mocap, and you want to see him do it. I would love to see what Andy Serkis could pull off in a mocap suit.
Oh yeah,
as a xenomorph, because that would be fucking weird. Yeah, no, so all that stuff. I mean, yeah, the hunter killer stuff that we're seeing so far. I mean, we haven't even mentioned the other. I mean, we sort of skipped a bit.
No.
The actual other aliens we're seeing,
Yeah,
not
well,
xenomorphs, but just
oh yeah, the
other
other
species.
the two when two of his team are like caught off. I have a question, honest question about this alien that we've seen in the beginning of it. The first one we saw. Does it have back spines or not?
I will have to re-look, but no, I don't think that it did. It was just the xenomorph or the slug things.
The xenomorph.
Yes, I think it had. It definitely has the spines down the tail. I don't know on its back. Oh crap! We're gonna have to rewatch. What a shame.
It does, but they're incredibly small, which actually makes me think that that's not a human-born xenomorph.
Well, that would kind of make sense if they've collected these off of an uninhabited world, because I've got a feeling they've collected these species from the same place.
So, no, they've collected them from different planets. They mentioned that they mentioned that because in episode episode 1 we also then get introduced to like a couple of the other guys. After that, you get a little scene with some of the other members of the rescue team who go into the lab. And
yeah, I know they mentioned that I didn't remember how many planets. I know they mentioned they said they had like 5 or 6 specimens.
No, the xenomorph specifically is from a different planet to the rest. They mentioned that in episode 3 because this is the bit when we get to that part in a bit. But when they get the 2 soldiers looking around the room, and then like some weird bug thing lands on one of them, like one of the backs, and then as they're going to leave, Morrow encounters them. Who then basically holds them at gunpoint and tells them get back in the room.
Yeah, tie yourselves up.
And gets them to tie themselves up, and then we get to see the weird blood leech basically drain one of these guys, and then the other one draining the other one. We don't get much else from it. We don't get to see the aftermath of this yet.
Yes, we do.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, you're right. Not yet.
Not yet, because it's episode 2 is when the kids enter the ship, basically when the Lost Boys enter the ship, essentially. But we get this. We get the lovingly mate. I think one of the best scenes. So that is episode 2 ends with Wendy going into the the ship with, I can't remember his name. I always forget his name. Is that the I can't remember his name. Who goes in with the ship with her?
Guy.
The Indian one who goes in, Indian kid who goes in with her, and then the other 3 go with Kirsch because the synthetic towards the lab to find what's going on, and
one is left with the weird plant thing growing from the ceiling.
So that's in episode 2. Episode 2 is we get the kids entering the ship. Wendy finds her brother. Well, no, she doesn't find her brother straight away. Because we get the best scene, I think, when her brother uses the elevator to get to the top, and then he's trying to get people out of the runs into another soldier.
Oh, when he's sitting on the statue.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That it's not just the fact it was on the statue; it's him and the other soldier on the chat. They knock on that door to get that, and they're knocking on the door where they can hear a party going on, and that dude comes out in full, what is it, Bridgerton regalia, basically.
Well, it's French pompadour stuff.
Yeah, French pompadour style.
Did you notice who that actor was?
I can't remember.
Once again, Alexander Armstrong. They pulled out so many weird British actors for this. It is crazy.
Yeah, it is a crazy one.
But he's got his big French pompadour stuff on, and they're doing the regalia. It's like, oh, do you mind? It's really very noisy.
Oh yes.
It's like, well, the building's been hit with a spaceship. You need to exit. Oh no, someone would tell me if that had happened.
Oh, Kid Prodigy would tell me. Me and him are on the same level, don't you know?
Blue Brigadier would come to me.
Come to me directly if I had to leave.
Oh, yeah.
No, he wouldn't. I love the fact that in that, and then he's talking to the guy. You've never seen an alien. No, I've not seen an alien. Like a big, looks like 12-foot tall because he's trying to describe this thing and it's just terrifying to him. Yeah. And then you just watch it unfurl from the statue and just stand up and you're like, I did not notice it was stood there.
So I did. So weird enough, I looked at that when they first walked past the loot statue and the thing. I was like, oh, I quite like that. I want one of them. I wonder where they got that from. And then they do the scene, and then next time I saw it, I was like, I don't remember it having a spike in the middle. Oh shit!
It's just like, oh shit! It stood there, right there. It's just like, oh shit!
And the way it takes out that, like, you don't see how. I want to see how it did it, but you don't see how it takes out that room full of pompadours.
No, it's the fact that it
But
kills the
fuck me,
dude. It's just like you just hear the guy shoot. The guy opens the door. For God's sake, you're being a racket, and it just jumps in and murders everyone in that party. It's just like,
Yeah.
And oh god, the Alexander Armstrong's character at the end when you see him go in the room to try and investigate when you see him investigate, and you just see the top half of him just trying to crawl away.
You see the legs, the trail of blood, and then the top half crawling. Like,
yeah,
oh.
and I'm sorry, but the way that the xenomorph was just sitting on the top, waiting for him to walk in the room.
Oh, that was even better bit. So when he first walks in and he's looking at that, if you actually look in the top right corner, you see it walk past the staircase and give him a look, and then walk round. And I was like, oh, it's going to jump down the stairs. And then it didn't. I was like, wait a minute. And then the next scene is just standing there on the top of the ledge looking down. I was like,
this thing's intelligent. It's just like, it is intelligent, entirely intelligent. It's this thing, we're finally seeing. Yeah, it's like this thing is not. Why is this? It's like it's testing him. If you think about it, it's trying to find the strongest prey. If it is truly trying, because as we find out in this episode, as we get to this bit, it then jumps and is about to kill him, and then Morrow appears and hits it with a weird cocoon gun? No, sorry, a shock dart.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so the shock dart first, or the shock beam or whatever it is, because that's more of it comes out more like a proton beam.
Yeah, shocks it and then shocks him.
That netting. Now, we've not seen anything quite like that before, but we've seen something very similar in the electroshock net that held down a xenomorph in Alien vs. Predator.
Yep, well, remember, if this is making canon a bunch of stuff that... Because it seems that this is making a lot of stuff canon that previously wasn't. It could mean that a certain video game is now officially canon and part of the Alien universe. Which is the...
Well, I mean...
Which is the reason humanity gets a bunch of their technological advancements.
Well, here's the thing. I'm wondering if it might not be the video games that are canon, but the AVP films and Predator, the later Predator films, which would mean that the reason companies like Weyland-Yutani and all that kind of already have a knowledge of the xenomorph is because they had records of these things fighting each other on Earth a century ago. Yeah. And then they also have video footage of this soldier called Duke.
Well, remember, technically, if they did, they control the Arctic, and there's a queen hidden in the Arctic somewhere underwater, still alive, just frozen. Remember that part?
Yeah. I mean, there was so much winning we were open to. I mean,
I'm wondering, by the way, so... We've got this. We get then to the rest of the kids, the other part of the kids' crew, investigating, the ship, and they come across the lab where you see the two desiccated corpses and the weird blood leech just fall off it with its fat
big fat clotted belly,
and just away. And then you see like a blood flat on the floor and something licking it. And I think that scene genuinely scares me. That thing is terrifying.
Thing was creepy, and it was terrifying. Perfect for the Alien universe.
The fact that it's just the top half of a cat as well. If you not noticed, the cat was missing its entire back half.
No. If you actually rewatch that, the back half had been smashed like someone had hit it really hard, or the ship had fallen on it. The whole back end was crushed and it was being actually dragged along by the rest of the cat. You see one leg completely mangled. It's just so it didn't dead. I mean, it was zombified.
It just turns to him, and you can just see the one eye. Oh, that eye's just a bit big. It's not that scary. And then the eye just splits.
Big, and one side of its face is ripped to pieces as well.
Oh yeah, but it's like
it's sliced up.
But then the eye splits, as in the actual the pupil, and it just splits. Like all his eyes starts looking at everything, and you watch as it starts ripping itself out.
But before that, it's still one eye looking around. It rips itself out of the eye, turns into like this little octopus thing. The one eye looks at all the people around it, and then that splits into like loads of little eyeballs. and that's when it can see all around itself. And I was like,
Yeah, it's just,
that's freaky.
and then it just starts running straight towards Lyd, who's the ginger sort of lost boy, and she's like, I'm just trying to replace her eye.
Yeah.
And we have different opinions. I think the reason it straight went for her is it saw the big target and went, that's a bigger prey. That'll be a better thing for catching more food. And it's because it's got sight, and I think it relies on the senses of its host, not the sense. It doesn't have any extra senses. I think it relies purely on the senses of whatever host it takes over. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like,
and it's sad. I mean, I've got to say, I mean, I was confused by that scene, because I mean, like, in fact, you are more than probably right. Like, it's just all it's seeing is a big thing that it can take over. But I am always like, things like leeches and stuff in real life, they don't go after, if you throw a stick in the water and move it around, it doesn't go after the stick. And if you throw something dead in there, it doesn't go after something dead. So I don't understand why that thing automatically went for the eye of what we know is a sim.
But it doesn't know it's a sim. If that's
unless. I mean, this thing so if you had a real leech, for example, like a normal human Earth leech,
yeah,
and you stuck a fake arm in, like a prosthetic arm in the water, and a real arm in, it would know which one has got blood. It's not just going to go for the big fat arm because it thinks that's going to be more. It goes for, it's sensing the blood, it's sensing all the things around it. So like I say, you're probably right. It just doesn't have that sense, and it's just going for the biggest thing in the room, or at least it perceives as bigger. I'm wondering now. More I'm thinking about it, I'm wondering if the reason these new cybernetics are so good is that they might actually have a brain in there.
Could be.
Which means that could be why it went straight for the face. I mean, obviously it goes for face, it's the eye, but it didn't try and go for anything else, if you know what I mean. It was weird. So I'm wondering if we are going to find out as a little hidden thing that there is going to be something organic inside those butts.
Well, we'll find out. But we get that bit. We then get before that we got Kirsch and the other one, like Kirsch and one of them have got that weird plant thing that they've hanging off the ceiling. It's very clear that this menagerie of creatures got loose on the ship. See, I'm wondering what that plant actually does, because so far we've just seen it like have a tentacle out and look at someone, and then that's it. You know what I mean? I'm really intrigued
I assume it's
by
some
that.
sort of Venus flytrap.
I assume that.
But then again, the way that bulb looks, I've in a couple of other science fiction things. I'm connecting so many different franchises, but I've seen something like that before, and usually in a few things, and usually what it does is it eats the thing, and then spits out a copy of the thing to get more people to come back to the thing.
From the Thorian in Mass Effect, essentially.
Yeah, or in there's a fantastic animated series on Netflix at the moment. I think it's called Scavenger's Run. I'll have to get the right name for it. But yeah, in that there's this thing does exactly the same thing as you've just seen in this. What we haven't seen, but looks very similar. And it grabs a monster, like the monsters that are running around, eats it, spews out a new one, a copy, and then that thing goes off with the herd. And then it explodes, spreading its spores out, and then all of them get affected, and it turned into the tree things. And then all of a sudden, another thing comes along. It takes one of them, it gets infected, spreads out, and then goes off. And it is very, very creepy. And I'm wondering if maybe we're getting a little bit of an homage to that.
Maybe we'll find out later. But we get this, and then we get the scene where Wendy finds her brother, trying to be coy, not tell him that she's his little sister. Because they're not supposed to tell them. They're supposed to be dead. She's supposed to be dead quite a few years ago. To which they're then told to go to the cargo bay. And she's like, "Come with us, please. It's to keep you safe."
And there's going to be loads of people there for you to help.
Yeah, lots of people there for you to help. And then as they're going through, the Indian one with a Indian boy with a reveals that no, she's not telling you the truth. She's your sister. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that. To which she tells him to go bugger off and run off ahead, and then has the heart-to-heart and thing, and then he's like, I love because it's so human that he doesn't believe her, and he's just asking her these questions, going like all these memories, and it's so well done, like legitimately it is so well, like the scene with that is so well done of the whole, like of her telling him like no this, like all these different things. Like telling him, all the answer memories, and then when he find the hug, and it's they finally have that hug, and it's like, yeah, come on, and then we get to the cargo bay, and there are 6 things in that cargo bay that are, oh fuck, there's more. We're screwed.
Now I have a question for you because you actually do know the universe a hell of a lot bigger than me.
Yep.
Those eggs.
They're
queen eggs, aren't they? They're not.
No, there is no difference. There's no difference between a face hugger and a queen egg because technically, in the current law, that is the official law from the Alien RPG that currently is, unless otherwise said by Disney now, is canon. Any drone can morph into a queen.
Because those eggs are very, very different.
They are
from.
I have a feeling those eggs are those are. Here's a thing that you might not agree with me on. I don't think those eggs are old.
No, I agree with you. Well,
I think they're new
because you do see one of them behind a glass panel, which means it was stored away. So probably from their first excavation. But the fact that those were just left in the cargo hold and not behind any of the security back glass that all the others were. Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that.
I have a feeling though, because Ridley likes the egg morphing thing. I'm not a fan of it personally, but I have a feeling that those are egg morphs, as in because if you notice, there's no bodies of the crew. Even in the
no,
even when you get to
the.
No, we didn't. Even when we got to the cryopod, you see blood all over the cryopod, but no bodies.
Well, no, there was one. Remember, because they do actually say what came out of its chest.
Yeah, there's one body, but there's very few bodies, which kind of strikes me out. The only real bodies we see is the desiccated one of the Doctor, who obviously got eaten by the leeches.
Yeah,
and that one in the cryopod, really, we don't. And the one that obviously died at the in front of the crash pod. They're the only real 3 bodies we see, which makes me think. The egg, it overmorphed some of the people. Because it might have been the only egg they took back. It hatched, infected one of them, obviously. And then they've gone and, what's it called? Been overmorphed and stepped near the eggs. Did you notice also when they got into the egg chamber, there was the blue light from the ship, like the actual blue stasis field light from the mist. That turned off.
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, there was the blue stasis light over those eggs, and it turned off when they got too close. But we then get them hugging the hugging bit, and then we get him approaching the egg, and the egg slowly beginning to open, and me just going, "For fuck's sake, don't put your head near that thing, don't put your face near that thing." Just because we know what's going to happen, they don't. And it makes sense for you to be. We're naturally inquisitive as humans. Humans are stupid, and we are naturally inquisitive. I will never not deny that. But I was like, "Don't." And then the xenomorph shows up, grabs him, and drags him off the ship at the end of the episode, away from the egg. That's the bit that struck me as the most odd.
I mean, and this all for me leads into the fact that. They are and if they are overmorphing shit, then it makes sense that they are not just collecting bodies for the face huggers, but actually the next stage.
Yeah, it's trying to make it sound. It feels like you're right. You might be right if it's trying to set up a hive. It might be trying to find the strongest to set up the Praetorian Guard for whichever one for the drone for that one, for the first one to become the queen. It's trying to find the bodyguard.
I mean, I mean,
because it's in a
I mean,
it's
this
it because
series
it can clearly sense that it is in a host-rich environment, and
like I said, I
it's
do, as we've discussed before, and well, not online but together. I went to an event a couple of months back with someone that worked on the visual, on the not the visual effects, but the stage effect, the prop. He was a prop master, basically.
yeah.
And he did give me a few little tidbits of things, spoilery stuff. So go away if you don't want spoilers. I'm not no major spoilers because I told you a few of them, and they weren't spoilers really, but they were just things nice.
They're little hints. They're hints at what is to come, but not spoilers.
For example, one of the things that he did in particular is that they had already, as he was telling us, that they had already built the set pretty much before he got there to start filling bits in, and little bits in. He wasn't one of the main guys at the time. But one of the things he did say to him was like, you're missing at least 3 things in this room, which is the mess room when they all go in there at the beginning. He's like, in the original, if this is a copy or the same ship, a sister ship of the Nostromo, you're missing the coffee machine that sits on that wall there. You're missing these 4 banks of lights here, because the coffee machine wasn't a coffee machine, it was just a prop. But it was, in real life, it was a coffee machine. You're missing these bank of lights here and you're missing this here. I was like, no, we're not. We've got this screen accurate. He's like, well, let me get my copy of the film. And showed him. He's like, oh shit. And he's like, I have these at home, by the way. I can get you these. So yeah, that's how he got into being more of the bigger side of the prop stuff. His original thing that he told me, which has come out, was the first scene the first episode is gonna focus both on what happened in the ship in the past and what's happening to it now on Earth, which was you see the crew waking up and then all of a sudden you see all this weird shit happening, then it crashes.
I did like every time we got a picture of the crew. Every time we got the crew, I like the flashes forward every time we saw a crew member though.
Yes.
Of shit going sideways. I actually like,
really
even though it was like we don't get to see the whole thing go down. I'm like, this is actually a good way of doing it because you're getting to see this is these people. We get to learn them, and then it's like getting a flash forward of this is what happens to them.
Yeah. We do get to see that whole event at some point in the series of exactly what happened there. But the other thing was that he did say to me, which I told you about because it was a great little thing. When we were talking about it, he was like, think zoo.
Yeah, think zoo.
And we've had this in the comic books.
Episode 3 starts with Wendy running off after trying to rescue her brother, and this is where we get more weird behaviour, which is what I said. The weird behaviour bit of it didn't kill the brother, unlike everyone else. It just cocooned his arm as a trap. It laid a trap.
So the other thing, let's talk about its behaviour being different. Multiple occasions, it's had the ability to leave the building via a broken window.
Yeah.
Never left the building. Why? Surely it would be a lot more dangerous out in the open. Just taking the thousands. Why has it decided that this one place is now going to be its hunting grounds? I find it weird.
Yeah.
There's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason why that is now its territory, and it's not leaving its territory yet.
It's all right. So it's right. I had a theory that I don't think is true originally, because this is from after we get that scene, we get that bit. Wendy then gets trapped in the room with it fighting, and then he opens the door, and Wendy's been injured by it, but killed it by ripping its fucking head off. And I'm like, oh yeah. This okay. She killed it by ripping its head off.
That also shows that the simps we've got now are a hell of a lot stronger than any of the other simps we've seen before.
Oh yeah, well that's because these
other than David, I think none of them have actually been able to fight back.
Yeah, we've got one that fights. Well, that's because these, remember, as he says, they're prototypes, and they are also meant to be the next evolution of humans, is what Kid Prodigy wants them to be. But it's not just that. We then get Morrow back up in the cargo bay with the Indian guy and the other kid, the 2 kids, 2 lost boys, and he's like threatening them. And they're going, no, you can't tell parents. And they're like, when does machine have parents? Like, and him downloading the thing, the information from Weyland-Yutani, from the ship's data log, so he's got it all. If you pay attention, In that bit, he mentions we found these eggs on a moon.
I obviously missed that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
found those
okay.
eggs on a moon, meaning that I think the eggs are from a different place from where everything else is. They went to LV-426. They're the reason the company knows where the eggs were and why the Nostromo was redirected. This is the catalyst for the Nostromo's redirection.
Yeah.
And why the company wanted LV-426 as a colony world and everything. This is the catalyst that starts the hunt. That's
You may very well be right there. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. This ship like was the first ship that triggered that found the distress signal, the warning, picked up the first eggs and stuff, and then, had the whole and Morrow's the reason that we have Aliens, Alien 3 and Alien the one that never happened. I refuse to acknowledge its existence, by the way.
I like that.
It's kind of like, because it's like he was downloading and he mentions that. I'm like, listen to him, and he goes, "We found these eggs on a moon. They only react to organic life. Your synths, because otherwise they'd obviously have, infected them by now." But then it's question, when is machine not a machine? Or when does a machine have parents? And he goes on that rant before escaping when Kirsch shows. I like when Kirsch shows up. I like the fact that Kirsch is just talking to him normally. You know what I mean? He's just trying to talk him down. Yeah. And it's just like you'd expect him to try and kill him, but not. He's just trying to talk him down and get him to cooperate with them. And then he jumps off, out and escapes.
I'm wondering if he's meant to be the same type of synth as Winona Ryder's character in the Alien Resurrection, because she was different from the others in many ways as well.
Well, remember, if you pay attention to Resurrection, the whole Resurrection thing, see, I got call from Wendy. That's who Wendy reminds me of. Winona Ryder from Resurrection.
Yeah.
She reminds me of Call. The whole, could it be that the synths that, rebelled in Resurrection's law, that, the rights for equal synths, where they had a war with the synths, could those synths be the prodigy synths, basically? As in, humans that transferred?
Yes,
and it's like,
that would make tons of sense to me.
It's like, but it's like, I'm still convinced that Kirsch is a replicant and not a synthetic. Which, someone asked me, what's the difference? When the difference is one of those passes as human, the other one doesn't. Like, for most senses, it's the whole thing about replicants. Kirsch does not act like any synth we've ever seen, because he willingly talks back. And I mean, fully willingly talks back. Every other synth character we've ever seen, even Ash, was somewhat submissive until, his protocols were activated to, main, crew expendable part of it. And Bishop was. And David was to begin with, and Walter was in Covenant. All of the synths have been somewhat, and even Andy was in, Romulus. Even when Andy was, operating on the company's protocols, he would still keep them alive.
Yeah, so I mean, 100%. So there's definitely something in the model that is the defining thing here.
Yeah, Kirsch is very different. I like Kirsch.
Can't wait to see how.
But yeah, and then we
we
get Morrow escaping. We've got all of them bagging. They've got them bagging up the aliens, and rescuing Wendy and her brother and taking them with her. And then we get the infamous scene where they're bringing all the creatures in, and we do get the goat inside one of the things. So the goat is an alien. That is the weird thing. The goat is the goat is an alien, and I'm like, what is the goat? Because if these are all deadly life forms because they mention it in that that scene when they're breaking bread in the mess hall, they mention that they lost so many men getting these things, so the crew was obviously bigger, which is why it's such a big ship, because the crew was obviously a bigger crew with a lot more security officers, and they've lost a lot of men catching all these creatures. So it's very clear that goat's dangerous, but why is it dangerous?
Well, the other thing to notice, all of the things that we've seen so far, they need a life form to inhabit to carry on. They're all versions of parasites in some way.
These
So
parasites.
it's whatever is inside the goat that's going to be the dangerous, deadly thing.
I have a feeling the thing inside the goat is the one that the mysterious Grendel thing that we've heard about. That's in it. Because that's the one that I'm intrigued. We've seen 2 out of the 5 things now. Because the alien isn't actually one of the 5 creatures. Because we know that because even Morrow said it. They found it.
Aliens.
Yeah, they found it. Yeah. Well, it's also because Morrow basically says we found this after we collected all the others, and that's when shit went to hell.
Yeah,
because they found that on a moon after the others. That's why it wasn't in a chain. Like there wasn't an egg in like a yellow box like the rest. But yeah, we've seen 3. Sorry, we've seen the plant, we've seen the leeches, and we've seen the oculus. There's 2 that we haven't seen yet. Those 2 are the ones I'm intrigued by to see. But episode 3, I did. Wendy's damaged. She's taken offline. We get her brother's lung gets removed. Did you notice that?
No, I don't know. I'm still a little bit towards the midway point on this one. So.
Okay. So the problem is that the points I want to talk about is very spoilers because the end of this episode is very, very, I'm very intrigued.
You know me, I don't mind spoilers in this.
Well, to be fair, you're going to watch anyway. You're going to watch probably after this podcast. But in regards to it, we get the scene. Like we get Wendy's been damaged. After the fight with the alien, she's knocked out and damaged, so they're having to put her offline while they fix her, fix the body and stuff. The Indian kid very much has PTSD. Like I keep forgetting his name. I think because they're all named after Lost Boys, and I forget his name.
Yeah, and and they're the traditional Lost Boys as well. And I can't really. Yeah, their names are not hitting me.
I'm gonna actually look up the character names a second. He's playing Toodles. That's it. Slightly Toodles.
That's it.
Sorry, slightly.
Is he slight? Okay, slightly. Yeah. Well, Toodles. Most people will remember from the Hook film as the little old man who lost his marbles.
Yeah. Slightly Toodles, and slightly Toodles. Wendy, Nibs, Curly. Curly's the one I was thinking of. That's I'm a bit Curly's the one that's weirded me out. Not her. It's the way. It's the way Kid Young, Boy Cavalier. Kid, the leader project. It's the way he said to her when she's discussing with him, and she's going on about I'm smarter than Wendy. This, that, and then having. I learned French in a week. I asked them to download it for me, and you know what I mean. And everything, right? In it, and it's straight up. He goes, "I'm going to give you a couple of books. Go read them, and then come back and we'll play." And I'm like, I was really creeped out by the way he said that, and it makes me think we're meant to be creeped out by him because it does make sense. There's going to be something wrong because there's no one does this out of the goodness of their hearts. Like what he even says so. He wants someone who's smart enough to speak to him.
Yeah, it's that arrogance, and as well the way he dealt with Weyland-Yutani or Yutani as well.
Well, it's Weyland-Yutani, but she's Yutani because Weyland, as we know by this point, has left Earth for Prometheus. Because this is set.
You have to remind me that because I had forgotten that.
It's because remember this is set after Prometheus, but directly about 2 years before Alien.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. So.
Well, other than the fact that we're both waxing lyrical on this and we're both absolutely in love with the show, I'm not really much else.
No, not
until we get another episode.
No, but in this episode we get a really weird bit that actually has me a bit, which makes me agree with you on the Wendy being special theory. Because there's a bit they've got the eggs, they've got everything, and Kirsch is like only synthetics allowed in this lab because this thing's a parasite. It needs a host like you to Boy Cavalier, and when doing it, when they rip open, they basically open up one of the 6 eggs manually and cut out the face hugger, and then cut out from the face hugger the parasite itself.
Oh,
they've gone back to it being a little parasite, not the black knot. It injects the black goo inside you anymore. It's got a parasite inside it now instead.
so face hugger is infected with something.
No. The xenomorph parasite, as in they remove the egg from the face hugger.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
From the ovipositor, they take the egg out of the ovipositor, and then as I said before, in Hermit's lung, Wendy's brother, because they've taken his damaged lung out of his body and I think replaced it with a synthetic one from looks at the end. His lung's in like a tank, being still breathing his damaged lung. He then puts the xenomorph parasite in the tank that then nestles itself inside the lung. At the end of the episode, and I'm like, why does it feel like that parasite's different? And Ridley might have finally decided, let's have the queen, and that's a queen parasite.
I mean, yeah.
Could it be finally we get a queen on deck? But that's everything we can really discuss about it at the minute, because we've only seen episodes 1, 2, and 3, which are only out. Episode 4 is next week. Then episode 5 is the week we have another podcast. But we're going to talk about a different show for a little bit, because I do think for the last hour we need to talk about the other 2 topics. And the second topic that I wanted to discuss today was Doctor Who, because as we now know, we have had. It's been moved. The War of Land and Sea, as you told me today, has been put back to 2026.
So it's been a weird week for announcements on this, because so we had originally been told probably last year, beginning of the year, that we would be getting it, the show towards the end of this year in full. So we were kind of expected to tail end the year with Doctor Who, then land between the War and the Sea.
Yeah.
Then Doctor Who magazine came out last week with sort of still suggesting that they were told that it was going to be the same sort of time period, so kind of expect it more towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then today the BBC have announced that it will be on delay until some point in 2026.
Yeah.
Now this isn't for filming reasons, because it was all been filmed and canned. It would, like say, it was ready to go. But the supposition I'm making here, because when shows change channels, there is usually 2 different sorts of grace period that we were talking about. There is the one that is a non-compete clause, so basically you can't make the show while we've still got rights to it, or air a show till we've still got rights to it. But also, when in cases like this, because the show was still owned by the BBC, it was only licensed to Disney. Disney will have an amount of time in which they will claim that the show is still profitable for them, and any other kind of show coming in like it or the same show would diminish the profits that they had already set out money for. So you usually see a year between projects, a minimum of a year. In these cases, for example, in the past in the UK, when shows like EastEnders or Neighbours have changed from BBC or Channel 4 to Channel 5, who bought both, although Channel 4 and BBC were no longer airing the shows up to date, Channel 4 weren't allowed to show anything but repeats until that time had come. And in like I say, it was a year and a half for Neighbours, nearly 2 years for Home and Away. So my worry is that they have to get rid of, they have to show at some point, because Disney are going to want it. I'm wondering, I can see this now taking Doctor Who slot for next year. That would then clear this show from being used. would also give a part of a year's grace, well, at least 6 months grace, and then they would have to if it goes back to the BBC and they don't license it out to anyone else, it's going to take around about 8 months to a year to film another episode, which would then bring it out of any kind of conflict period. So I really don't think we're going to be seeing a show on TV
until
I think we might get a
2027.
Christmas special.
I reckon we'll
think
get
we
a
might
Christmas
get a
special.
2027. I don't think we're going to get a series until 2028.
We'll see what happens with it. It's
that is me theorising. That is I know.
It's also we also don't know how long whether the grace period thing for it, whether it we also don't technically know whether it applies or if it's already started.
Well, that's usually what is known as a boilerplate item. So by that I mean that is usually in all entertainment contracts.
Oh, yeah. But we don't know whether the contract whether Land and Sea will delay them doing Doctor Who, because we don't, even though they are the same part of the similar contracts. One's a spin-off, one is the main series. We don't know if Land and Sea
at the moment. We don't know if the project as it is just Doctor Who and spin-offs are just extra.
Yeah.
Or whether the project that they included was actually Doctor Who and any Doctor Who spin-off they paid for.
Yeah.
In which case, if that is the case, then we will be waiting all that time again on top of War and Sea.
Yeah. But
if not, we may get something a bit sooner.
Yeah, true. The thing about it is we have to figure out with this one, because it's been a Doctor Who fan at the minute is a little bit of a hard place to be at the moment because of this. Because unfortunately, I absolutely loved Shooty's run. I loved Jodie. She was awesome. I despise the writing in Jodie's era because I've recently been rewatching some of it with my dad, and I'm like, I don't remember this.
Watch.
I don't remember half of this happening. Like,
and it's actually quite a difficult watch.
It is. I've only watched. This is the. Tell you how much, right? In honesty, compared to Matt, Peter, Shooty, David, Baker again, McCoy, like all of the other Doctors. I've watched a lot of episodes of other Doctors, like multiple times, including Shooty's. I've watched his series twice, and I've watched.
I've watched it a couple of times.
I've watched. I will say the one I've watched the most is Matt and Peter. Peter, because
really? Okay.
I love Peter Capaldi. Peter Capaldi is like my favorite modern Doctor at the minute. I just love the way he is. But it's also they're my modern Doctor Who, the two that I've watched the most. I watch them a lot because I love Matt Smith's way of acting. I love the way that I love Peter Capaldi's entire run. I really just love it. But for me, Jodie's I've watched once. I've watched the entire thing through once when it was on the TV, and I've never wanted to go back and watch an episode apart from one. There's one episode I will admit I've watched multiple times, and you know what? Sorry, 2 episodes. And you know what those 2 episodes are? Spyfall Part 1 and 2. Yeah, for 2 reasons.
They're the only ones I watch.
Sacha Darwin, and Lenny Henry. Because Lenny Henry playing a villain and a straight-faced character, not being a comedy role, is actually pretty damn awesome.
Yes.
And in all seriousness, Sacha Darwin's the reveal of him being the master. Even I didn't even get that until he said, "I did say look for the spy master."
Beautiful.
And the minute he said, I went, "Oh shit!" It's just look out the window. Bit Wicked Witch of the West, but only him is the reason I watched it, and it was for those 2 episodes. And it's and that's annoying because I genuinely love Jodie. Jodie's an amazing actress, and everything else I've ever seen her in, I love her. Just not in Doctor Who, except from when she showed up in Shooty's episode. When she showed up in that, I genuinely was I actually jumped for joy seeing Jodie back on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, I did enjoy that. I've got to say, I did enjoy that, and we spoke about it. But I've got to say, with everything that then happened and what is going on now, it just felt like they decided to sparkle a turd with more turd.
The problem with that last episode is we know that there's a lot of rewrites, because apparently from the collector's edition version of the DVD, the extended,
this is something we should talk about.
The interview with the cast,
the story that so on the DVD version there is a companion update to all the companions that were meant to be in the final 2 episodes.
Yep, Reality War.
And we also now have the story released of what should have happened in Reality War. And we were right. It was a massive Susan-heavy reveal episode, with the final scene before the end being them all at a party. We know this is... so I didn't know this because I hadn't seen this image, but it's been talked about. We know the party was filmed. The original ending was fully filmed because they released promo images of the party with Susan standing next to Poppy. So yeah, it's looking like the original story was going to get is that
Poppy was thingy.
They were there together at the party, and Susan, apparently the story ends with Susan going up to the Doctor, telling him something, and him leaving rapidly. Now I don't know why that couldn't have still happened. See, I would have, because if we knew Spook was going, she could have whispered something in his ear. He leaves in fear, and we find out the thing that he's running from was her telling him that I'm here because tonight is the night you die. And so we end the show with a death, a regeneration of someone that either we didn't know who it was, or they then could have carried on, and it being Billy coming back, and then that would have left. If you've been told we're not going to get another episode for a year, 2 years, whatever, that cliffhanger would have kept him being warned.
Yeah,
him being warned by a family member, him dying at the end, and then Billy coming in. You'd be like, "What the fuck? Do we not have a Doctor anymore? Is that what's just happened? Was she warning him that Bad Wolf was going to take his place?" Something like that. And
it would have started speculation rather than... It would have started a lot more speculation.
Than what we've actually got now, which is en masse hate.
Yeah. And
I haven't... Even with the Chimble era and Jodie Whittaker, I mean, there was a lot of people... We saw a lot of discourse online from what I always discuss as they're bots. They're people who are trying to get angry at things.
Yeah.
Make everyone angry at things. And that was a lot of the hate that we got out there, which meant most people couldn't talk about what was actually wrong about the show because too many people go, it's woke, it's a woman, it's this. That's not the issue.
Or the amount of people going, you can't or getting mad at people going, yeah, I generally just don't like the writing. I love Jodie. Jodie, I have said on multiple occasions, Jodie Whittaker, I love her. I hated the writing in that season. The writing in those seasons is so unmemorable. I don't remember what happened. I only remember Spyfall, and it's not even because of Jodie that I remember Spyfall. I don't remember the whole episode. I literally remember the end of the first part and the second episode with the Master. I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what pisses me off, because it's like...
This whole project, I think, Doctor Who itself was not something Jodie should ever been involved in. This was not something that she can act towards. And not saying that she's not a good actor in any way. She's just not her. It's in the same vein as trying to give this show to Danny Dyer.
Have you also heard
it's not going to work.
Apparent thing is the reason Mark Gatiss quit is because he was the one that was supposed to be the showrunner after Moffat left, and they went and gave it to Chibnall instead. And if that's the truth, I don't actually blame Gatiss for leaving. I would have preferred the show under him, because Mark Gatiss I loved a lot of his episodes. Yes, we would have seen him inserted in a lot of episodes because he has a tendency to play a character in his own episodes, right? Don't get me wrong. That would have been funny, but it also would have just been the typical joke that we have as Brits of we only have 10 actors. We have to swap characters. We have to swap the characters around all the time. But I think it would, if he was the one writing Jodie, honestly, personally, I think the character would have been better, because what I feel happened with Chimble's era is it wasn't her fault. She was doing the best she could. when Chibnall basically wrote her to be a secondary character in her own show.
Yeah.
In where she's meant
That
to
was
be the
another
star.
big problem as well, in the fact that you had a really good actor in the show that doesn't act often, but when he does, because he's just a guy called Bradley. It's not Bradley Walsh.
Bradley Walsh.
Is it Walsh?
It's Bradley Walsh.
I get him mixed up with the other dude.
The other one's David Bradley. David Bradley's the one that played the first Doctor. Bradley Walsh is Graham, and Dan's the guy who played Dan is the footballer.
There's another comedian that I keep getting him mixed up with. He was the guy that was. It's only a puppet. That dude. I don't remember
that dude. That's one of your old man references, Jax. I'm only young, remember.
He was literally a stand-up comedian at the same time as Bradley Walsh. They were compared.
Taking him out. I only know Bradley Walsh because of hello, Miss K. I only know Bradley Walsh because of The Chase. I don't know him from anything else.
Just for people out there that only know him from The Chase, he was. This is how good of an actor he was. He went from doing little bits to being given the head lead role in Law and Order UK. His run on Law and Order UK was freaking awesome, and that's how he got to Doctor Who. But here's the problem that they had there, especially in the writing, and you're right.
Yeah.
They made Doctor secondary because he's acted and his way of playing, because he had some shit as well. None of them got away. No one got better writing than anyone else. He played it so damn well. You're going, wait, why isn't he the Doctor?
Yeah, you were playing why is Graham's character role not the Doctor? Because seriously, I'm sorry, but Ryan and and also I'm going to say this as a member of the LGBT plus community, I actually dislike the way that the whole Yaz being a lesbian thing in the show, for one reason.
Yeah,
because his bill, two lesbian representation in the show, right? Jenny and Vashta in Moffat's era.
Yep.
Brilliant. I loved them too. Bill in Capaldi's companion. Brilliant. Amazing. Yaz came out of nowhere.
Because they wanted a relationship with the Doctor. Because they wanted to redo the whole Billy Piper, David Tennant thing. Yeah. And it was never going to work.
It wasn't going to work because you didn't... the reason the Billy Piper and David Tennant worked is you could see it developing with Chris, between the two of them.
Yes.
You could see that Tennant's, let's be honest, Tennant's regeneration was a vain regeneration of, I want to appear attractive to the person that I've, because it was a trauma response. If you pay attention, it's the reason that Chris was falling for, the 9th and 10th Doctor was falling for Rose was trauma bonding. It wasn't a healthy relationship. It was trauma bonding because this is the Doctor that literally, as far as he knows, has just killed his entire race at that point. And he's traumatized, trying to, still live up to the name of being the Doctor. And, he's trauma bonding with this other person, with this person.
Trying to work out what that title actually means at this point in time.
And that's what happened. So it's why that it was trauma bonding at that point. And it's straight up 10 and 9 Rose and 10 and Rose is trauma bonding. It's good for a couple of years. It's never going to last. And I'm sorry, but that's my entire honest opinion on that. Mm-hmm. It is. But in all honesty, right, they were trying to recreate that with Yaz, and I'm sorry, but as much as I love the actress that plays Yasmin Khan, I'm just her and Jodie Whittaker are absolutely best friends. I forget her name. I completely forgot her name. I remember the character name. It's I remember Bradley Walsh because of The Chase, but it's it just felt forced. It was just suddenly we got to I can't remember what episode when we first found it out. We get to the first time we get an inkling of it is it's the time loop episode with the Daleks, and then we get it's the episode before that we first get the inkling of to do with towards the end of the Ryan and Graham being on the show when they leave, and it's you need to tell how you feel.
If you say Graham, that says tell her how you feel.
Yeah. And then it's and then we get it with Dan, and I'm this just feels completely out of place because there's been no indication of this the entire show. If you'd have had this build up and had this indication from, say, the first part of it to, from when she first shows up to, first shows up until to that bit of reveal, and it's she likes the Doctor, but the Doctor doesn't like her back. You know what I mean? Like if you had that part, it would make more sense. It would honestly make sense. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. To be fair, there is neither of us are gonna, especially us two. Neither of us are gonna turn around and say we don't want representation in shows, especially in Doctor Who, because Doctor Who and Star Trek can do it a lot better than fucking most.
And also, I will never ever every representation I've seen in Doctor Who has been really good, except that one. Even Shooty's ones that people keep going, it's forced, it's all woke, and I'm like, no, this is just natural representation. The only reason you're mad at it is because it's being done, it's being seen as natural and normal, and you're upset that it's not being seen as shamed.
Actually, to this point, I actually saw an interview with Russell T Davis on I don't know what she. I can't remember the name of the show, but he was talking about. They were talking about Doctor Who and it being gay and very all that sort of stuff, like the pushing into the LGBTQ community in storylines. And I mean, I get it. The setting he was in was more gay friendly, I guess, for want of a better term. But he was like, "Oh yeah," and literally, I'll find it for you, so you can watch this later and listen to it.
I know the interview the way he went, where he said.
The only reason I do this is to really just buzz around people's heads like flies, because if they don't like it, this is not their show.
Well, no.
Whoa.
The other one I've seen, where the interview I've seen for him is, I don't care when people call it woke, because I'm just showing life as the world as I've seen it. That's all I do is just write the world as I see it.
So he says something very similar in this. In this interview, it's the one with the female impersonator. I can't remember what her name is.
Jinx.
She's a drag queen, not a.
Oh, do you mean Jinx Moon? Jinx
might
Moon?
be.
That's her name. Jinx. That is the drag name, Jinx Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
who coined the best term ever? Jake Hey Who.
But I don't know. But but yeah. So Russell T Davies, after saying pretty much a similar sentiment, but with a bit more, I don't care. This isn't a show for people that don't like this stuff. Literally followed up with, because my experience was basically and these were his words. My experience was giving my arse away in, I think it was Sutton. I was like, oh, wait a minute, stop. If you want to put representation into a show because it's the right thing to do and it's smart because of the world, that's one thing. If you're doing it because you just want to piss people off and a fan base off now because you don't care about anyone else's sensibilities, you don't need to be on a family orientated show.
I do feel sometimes a little bit when I've listened to with sort of Rusty Davis in some of his interviews, later interviews, like for RTD2, because his husband died, didn't he, a couple of years back?
Yeah.
And I don't think he's fully processed. I don't, not like my place to judge, but I honestly don't think I personally don't think he may have fully processed the trauma of that, and he might have put it into his writing a little bit too much. But
the other thing is that I mean, he has said in the past and recently that he can't write other people's perspectives.
Yeah.
He's like, if it's not right in front of me and it's not my experience, I can't write it. And he's talked about how he can't really write out of sync in a script because I'm a present person. I can only write scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, all the way up to scene 50. I can't go from here to there because I don't know what those people are like. Well, that's not really good for a writer. I can tell you that much. But the other side of it is that he's then said. So once again, to go to the point of my hatred, not my hatred, but my dislike for Stephen Moffat and his style, I've always been, whenever I've seen interviews with the two of them together, I was like, Russell T Davies is right. You know, Moffat doesn't know what he's talking about.
Whereas I'm the opposite, because I prefer Moffat's writing over Davis.
But here's the problem. I've been rewatching a lot of these interviews, or these interviews have been popping up a lot lately. Yeah. I've been re-listening to them, like a couple of them, the Inside the TARDIS stuff that they did. And Russell T Davies was like, oh, well, one of my original ideas was to actually change this round so all of the mechanics were on the outside of the like the walls of the TARDIS, and we've got a sofa in the centre for all the crew to hang out. And the look on Moffat's face is like, no, there is tradition in this show. And he kept saying other things, and he was like, and Moffat's looking at him like, why the fuck are we in the same room? Then there was another interview where the two of them are being interviewed on a red carpet for something, and they've both finished. So this was before RTD2, and during the Chibnall era. And the person asked him, like, now neither of you are doing Doctor Who. Do any of you, like, do you ever see something or think about stories? And Russell T Davies goes, oh no, when I'm not doing it, I don't care. And when I am doing it, I write an entire story in 2 weeks and then it's done.
Yeah.
And Moffat looks at him and says, yeah, every time I watch a film, I'm like, I could do something with this. This would be great in Doctor Who. And Russell looks at him and says, do you really do that though? He's like, yeah. I'm a writer. He went, I never bothered with that. And Moffat turned around and went, yeah, because I did all your work. and it's the first time I'm looking at it going, shit, I might have been wrong the whole time about Moffat.
I think the thing is right, the reason I like Moffat is probably the reason that, like, so the thing I will say this, Russell Davies won, the era that everyone goes, oh, it's the golden era of modern Doctor Who, David Tennant, this and that, and I'm like, and I go, I predicted the bad guy of every single fucking season by the end of the first episode.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right.
I was like, the season 3 with Martha, the minute the face of Bo goes, you are not alone, my brain just went, that's the Master.
Yeah.
The minute season 3 went, we saw season 4, when Donna's, going to the blonde lady, to the lady at the time we see as a blonde lady going, just tell her, that been there. And then when it turns around and it's Rose, went, well, look, Bad Wolf, that means the Daleks are back again. Yeah. I was like, don't get me wrong, I don't have an issue with his, like, Rusty's era, one era was good, never not say it's bad, but the reason I like Moffat more is that Matt Smith's first run, the Pandorica opens, like, the whole Pandorica thing, like his first season, I immediately took a liking to Matt Smith the end of his first episode. Whereas I will admit, with Tennant, it took me till I think it was episode, is it 2 or 3 of his first season? No, it's episode 3 when Sarah Jane Smith shows up. It took me till then to realise, because to seeing how he interacts with Elizabeth Sladen. I also didn't realise, the homeless guy that Peter Capaldi steals his jacket off in his first episode is Elizabeth Sladen's husband.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That was her husband.
That's wonderful.
They put him in the show as an homage, an homage to her. Like, he's been in the show multiple times. He was in the old series as well.
Yeah, I know he appeared in older stuff.
I didn't realize that Bernard, the homeless dude that he stole the jacket off, was Elizabeth Sladen's husband. I was like, oh, that is pretty awesome.
Oh, good. Very good.
Yeah, but it's like with Moffat, I never really could predict. Like, I didn't predict what the end of the series was going to be from the beginning.
The problem is you never could, because you never knew which storyline he was actually going to thread together at the end.
But I also liked and I will admit this, at the end of Moffat's whole run, he did essentially, at the end of Matt's run, wrap up all the stories about Matt's Doctor. The silence, where the silence came from, where the cracks in the universe came from, and all that, and why there were the cracks in the universe in the first place, and everything.
Yeah.
And at the end of Capaldi's run, he sold up all of Capaldi's mysteries, whereas some of the stuff that got put in Russell Davies' series didn't get entirely wrapped up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love Shooty's series like Italic. I think Shooty's first season wasn't the best. It was good. I liked it, but I preferred the second season a hell of a lot more. I've watched second season quite a few times. I will fully admit I still love watching the last few episodes of the first season and the whole Sutek reveal, because that bit was just I am so happy to see it.
The Sutek reveal was fantastic. Sutek was shite.
Oh yeah.
It's such a disappointment. That has been kind of Russell T Davies's legacy for this last 2 series.
The Rani bit, I'm still sad that, in my opinion, the better Rani is the one that died. No offense to what's the name that I've forgotten the name now. The one that's playing, the older
Angela. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Brian May's wife.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. There's her. No offense to her, but the Chowdhury is just was a better actress, and I really loved her as the Rani. I forget her name. Anna Dobson. That's it.
Anna Dobson. That's it. Anita Dobson.
Anita Dobson. Don't get me wrong. I loved her, but she literally was like. I'm sorry, but I would have preferred the other one to survive because the other one was more menacing.
It was, but here's the thing.
What?
That was such a nice callback to Missy.
Oh yeah.
Like in this case, it was bi-generational, so it didn't matter that she killed her. You're not going to have the same time paradox that Missy has to deal with. But it was that case of, I am not going to be the one that goes today. Right.
Nope. So much for the two Ranis. Bye. Just that bit was just like, yep, that was a nice joke. Yeah. We're going to make a reference to the two Ronnies because why the hell not?
Yeah, and the one thing that does leave us open to now though is a new Rani with the master storyline.
Well, also we still have the tooth that was left of the toy maker of I beat the master at his own game and trapped him in my tooth.
Yeah, it's really sad that I've got a bad feeling that a lot of that stuff is going to be waved away.
Yeah,
with
I will say
story next time
Neil Patrick Harris played the toy maker fucking splendidly though.
And what's annoying is he wants to do it again.
What's even more annoying is he was actually in that episode genuinely fucking terrifying.
Yes,
because
yes.
the minute that 14 literally turned to Donna and went, Donna, go back to the TARDIS. You knew that this was a villain that was not the kind of villain that he'd normally be like, it's fine, I can deal with this guy. No, this guy, he's scared. Go back to the TARDIS. He's recognizing. I love the fact that you kept dropping the accent every so often, though, as well. It was so brilliant. It was such
Your accent's strange. What?
What? No, it doesn't.
Well.
Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, shit. It's such a good scene.
There was some I mean, don't the more I have rewatched Shooter Zero, I've become a little bit more not against it, but less. It's got less polish on it than
it does have less polish. But I feel I'm going to be honest. I feel that Doctor Who having a budget like a Disney level budget that it's had for these seasons, in the case of Doctor Who, I'm going to say this, and I think you'll probably agree with me on this, is actually a detriment to Doctor Who. Whereas other shows, it'd be I don't think it's a detriment to Doctor Who itself. I think it's a detriment because of the showrunner, because he's going bigger and he's like not really doing it with a payoff. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, and the other side of it is that with something like this, it's very easy to be the guy that's won the lottery. Yeah. You've been living your life off a tenner a day, or for £3 a day, and now you've got £1,000 a day.
Yeah.
To do whatever you want, and instead of buying the things you need, you buy flashy gimmicks. And that's kind of what happened there. Instead of using that money to actually get a really hardcore cast on every episode, and some really cool looking monsters and effects, they just went CGI everything.
Yeah,
we're going to be in space. We're going to be on this moon. We're going to do this.
Like Doctor Who's at its best. Doctor Who's at its best, quite literally, when we have not when a
shaky set and a dude in a bin bag.
Yeah, shaky set, dude in a bin bag.
Iconic episodes.
Give me the silly costumes. I don't care if the alien looks fake. I like the aliens that look silly because that is Doctor Who in a nutshell. It has always been a show that, like, even the original premise of the show was episodes set in the past to teach kids about history, episodes set in the future to teach kids about science. It actually was. It has always been. Was originally pitched as an educational show in some senses.
this was a thing about people. It's easy to forget about the BBC because it's still meant to be its prime objective is to educate,
entertain.
I can't remember the third part. So back when that came out, all shows had to, what are you doing to educate and entertain and blah blah blah. I was like, oh yeah. So like I say, history show in the past, sciencey show in the future, and we teach. And genius move.
Oh yeah.
Genius
also,
move.
I think the best thing is honestly, is it In Time and Space they released for the 50th anniversary, wasn't it? The thing to show how the show originally got made. I love that they recorded his what's his face's originally went no bug-eyed monsters, and the very second set of episodes was the Daleks.
Yeah,
and he really hated it until he saw just how much everyone loved it.
Yes, and I mean there is also we know kind of part of this is true, but there was a lot of upset about the fact that Terrence Dicks had all the rights to the Daleks as well.
Oh yeah,
and kept it.
Oh yeah, and his estate has still kept it. His family still owns the rights to them.
And it same with the guy who created the Rani. That's why one of the reasons why the Rani hasn't been
around for so long
for years.
But it's nice to see that it was. I was so happy to see that. I do love, as we've talked about in this podcast, like in the first season. I do love that I was right on that whole theory, and you were wrong.
Oh yeah, 100%. I didn't expect.
I was right twice. Remember, I was right twice. Because I bet it's an old enemy from the original series. I bet it's we both didn't think it was. We got the Sutek one wrong, both of us, because we both got that wrong. But I was it's Omega and it's the Rana
symbol.
Yeah, we both thought it was. We thought it was. Oh no, it's something else. And then we both went. It's the Rani, and you're like, no, it can't be the Rani. They won't bring the Rani back. It'll be the Master or something, or Missy.
But once again, I had missed a significant piece of information in the fact that the BBC, or Bad Wolf at least, had come to a deal with I can't remember the dude's name's family.
Yeah.
So I was still fully under the impression they're never going to get this for copyright reasons, because every time they've tried in the past, they've basically been told to go fuck themselves.
Yeah. And then I was like, yeah. And I bet the thing that she's trying to go is it's Omega. And I was right on both counts of that. I was like, I am right twice. I predicted both Omega and the Rani. I was so happy with myself.
Omega, if I'm correctly, Omega, I was with you on, because that made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I think you were I was. It's Omega. You were thinking it wasn't Omega at first, before the reveal of it, because you were still thinking it was. You were thinking it was the Black Guardian.
Oh no! I mean, definitely at the beginning, I thought we were going to get the Guardians.
Yeah. But I was. I really want the Guardians back. I want the other, because I was watching one of the with my dad when he was watching one of the Josephs, and they're on about we immortals have our thing. The Guardians have their have their competitions. The Celestials have their games. Going through all the different ones, and I'm like, please stop name dropping better villains than your made up villain of Nightmares thing. Like, God, it was even the villains in that episode were boring. Just like so many of those episodes, villains I don't remember. Like, I don't remember the villain's name. I just remember that line because it was the line that was on the screen on TV when I was watching it. But before we end, both
Sutek and Omega were used very, very poorly, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always wanted. The other reason I didn't think it was going to be Omega, and this, as we discussed, was there is actually a story that showed, and this is what I think they had to kind of weirdly pivot to it being the way that they did.
Yeah,
because there is a story in which Omega comes back, and it's on the same space station you see Jack and Lorenzo at the end of one of the Doctor Who episodes, and the whole story is basically him talking to someone about how he used of what happened to him over the years after meeting the Doctor. And how he slowly, that when he met the Doctor in Amsterdam, instead of being destroyed, he was dispersed. It's taken him all this time to regather himself back together, and he's seen the error of his ways. You know, he was the original Lord of Time. He created time travel for the Time Lords, and he forgot his purpose because basically they fucked him over for his purpose.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I know. I thought, well, if we do get him back, it's going to be a very different master.
Well,
Very different Omega.
But to be fair, though, the Omega we got back is, as described in that bit, it's the legend of Omega. It's not his It's not his. It's not his will. It's him being pulled forth without his will, which makes me think. It makes me think it's also a slight way of going. We can still bring back the Omega we used to have, because that's the Omega brought back on his own free will, using his power to give himself form. Whereas this is Omega that is from the world of legends and stuff.
100%. 100%.
Which I think is the way they did it. They changed it to that, I think, on purpose when in the rewrites of that episode, on purpose, specifically to make it so that it was, you know, a way to get themselves out of it, because they had to realize they couldn't do what they probably couldn't do all the original plans and everything.
Yeah.
But
I've got a feeling that they had actually already been told long. Like, I mean, I know they tell it's very short notice and all the rumors and stuff we've got about Tutti leaving. I really do think that he had told them maybe towards the end of season 1 that he was going, or at least considering it.
But I will say, with Doctor Who thing is, Doctor Who is fun. I love it. I've loved all of Shooty's episodes. Like I've loved his episodes. They're not as amazing as Russell's first run. For me, they're not as good as the Moffat era for me, because I enjoy the Moffat era a lot more. Like, me and you have differing opinions on Moffat and Russell Davis.
So I'm slowly learning to love it a hell of a lot more with the way that, like, with a bit more appreciation on how the two of them.
Yeah, and I love the fact
to see the show.
Yeah, it's because you can tell. The reason I think I like Moffat's more is also you can tell from Moffat's era, Moffat is a fan of the original, because there are so many things that during his run you would unless you're a fan of the original, you won't understand why, like, this little minor detail in this episode is important. But as a fan of, like, you know, the original, I know why that's important, because that is, you know, like the colony ship in Capaldi's last season. Why the origin of the colony ship being from Mondas is important, because of what it know what that colony ship is the beginning of. That is.
I mean, the other thing is that I think the other problem I kind of have with Moffat, really, which is a weird one, is that because he is a fan, when he wasn't a showrunner and in his early days of being a showrunner, he was still writing. He was writing as a professional with fan knowledge.
Yeah.
As he got towards the end of his run, he was writing as a fan, not fan fiction, but fan fiction ideals. You know, it's like, let's bring out everything. You know, if it's for instance, if it's a Marvel comic, you know, it's going to be one like.
Oh yeah, I can get behind that.
The fan version of it is going to be Galactus fighting a Galactus-sized symbiote, and then the two of them get together, and then fucking Iron Man comes in with a Hulk Buster, and then you know, and that's kind of what we got towards the end.
But for the Doctor Who thing, there's another topic I want to discuss before we end this, because we have only got like 20 minutes left, near enough. Is this one, which was a surprise announcement at Gamescom. By the way.
Okay.
Dawn of War 4 and Warhammer 40,000 getting another Dawn of War game, because Dawn of War Remastered Edition just came out. Like, Warhammer is, like, as you know from my experience from being, unfortunately, a guinea pig in my D&D games. So we've got Dawn of War. Dawn of War is a franchise I love. Dawn of War 1, amazing game. I play that game a lot. Dawn of War 1 just got a definitive edition remastered, relaunched. I have enjoyed the definitive edition. Mods don't work with it entirely. They do work with it, but they are a little finicky. The UI gets fucked up. But the main thing is, Dawn of War 2 was a completely different game from Dawn of War 1. It was more like a tactical RPG RTS, where your troops were very important. You wanted to keep them alive throughout the game, so you would retreat, fall back, and you didn't have a base. You only had like a single HQ. And then they made Dawn of War 3, which there's a reason I want to, because I want to go to rant about Sega and Dawn of War 3. Because, honestly, I think Relic would have made a... Dawn of War 3 would have been a brilliant game and would have been what Dawn of War 4 looks like it's shaping up to be if Relic wasn't owned by Sega at the time.
Yes.
Because I have no idea who in their right mind went, RTS game, I know what we're going to do. We're going to make the multiplayer mode League of fucking Legends. Or Dota 2. Or Smite and Smite 2. And, you know, why the hell in an RTS am I not only building a base, am I pushing up to destroy a tower and then another towers and, you know, then destroying a tower and then destroying a core in the enemy base to win the match, and not trying to outsmart my opponent by, you know, building base around the map, engaging them tactically over resources and trying to fight. I'm forgoing all that. All I'm going for is I've got to destroy this tower and this tower and this tower, and then I win. Like, and oh yeah, I have hero units that I only get 3 of, like 3 that I have to choose through. I then get special, like, I want to say, like, items from League or Dota. Like, you know, little items that I can pick at the start of the game that give me a boost, give my faction a buff. Oh, and then why are there only 3 factions? Because every Dawn of War game...
And a paywall.
Oh, no, there wasn't even a faction. There was no DLC. This game had no DLC. This game is a perfect example of started badly and then was abandoned because it didn't make enough money. Not like... And then Dawn of War 4 is being made by a company called King Art Games. They and Deep Silver are the publishers. Deep Silver I love because they make a lot of games I really enjoy. They're a good publisher. They publish a lot of games I actually genuinely enjoy. They also, I think, they're the people who published the Dying Light series, and I love Dying Light because it's Techland that makes it, but Deep Silver's like the publisher. But King Art Games made Iron Harvest, and Iron Harvest is a really good RTS. It's like styled like Company Heroes, and that's the reason why I will personally say that I think that Sega is the reason that Dawn of War 3 is as bad as it is, because Relic made Company Heroes 1, 2, and 3 under Relic under THQ 1 and 2 were made under THQ, then they were bought by Sega, and made 3 under Sega before they became independent. But all 3 Company Heroes games play the exact same. Like, they're just improvements on the last game. But Dawn of War 3 became a MOBA. And it became a MOBA at that point where MOBAs were really popular and real-time strategy games weren't. And it's like a StarCraft 2 styled MOBA game, and it just doesn't work. Like, none of the units felt like they had weight or like any power behind them. And you straight up had the Eldar with the Protoss, the Orcs with the Zerg, and the Space Marines with the Terrans. Like, the factions even played like those 3 factions. That's how, like, on the nose it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just... But Dawn of War 4, the day after it went live, today loads of the RTS channels have put up like videos. They apparently a load of them got to play the game early. They got, to play the game at the Deep Silver HQ and everything. Almost all of them have said it is a love letter to Dawn of War 1 and 2. Which for me means I'm going to probably enjoy this game. And this is a game I'm excited for, but it's not just that. It's RTS games being like back. We're in like a, not a renaissance, but like a somewhat resurgence with Dawn of War 4 just being announced. Tempest Rising's like on its way. Creative Assembly are apparently, I think either this month or next month, announcing their next Total War game, because it's the anniversary of Total War, 25 years, or 30 years of it. And they've said that 1 month this year they're going to announce the new Total War games. And I'm wondering what that's going to be, because the rumours currently have it as Total War Star Wars.
Okay.
And it's a new engine of them possibly testing the waters for a, Total War games that are actually have a bit more ranged combat in them. So probably, actually having mechanics where ranged units work better and cover systems possibly. that actually work, because apparently it's a new engine as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting trying to be an RTS. I'm an RTS fan. I love RTS games. They're my favourite thing. And the 4 factions we have announced for this game is Space Marines with the Blood Ravens, who are the iconic Dawn of War faction. The game is where they come from. They were invented for this game. That's where they originate from, the first game. We've got Necrons, and we've got the Adeptus Mechanicus for the first time in an RTS. Which means we're getting cyborg people. But also we've got the best character in all of Dawn of War back. We have Gorguts back. And that means that we are going to get, which I am really hoping we get the voice actors back from Dawn of War 2 and Dawn of War 1, and we get Gorguts' voice actor back, because it will be hilarious to listen to Gorguts again.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so we've talked about Doctor Who, we've talked about Alien Earth. At the minute, I want to talk about Dawn of War because it's something I want to talk about in regards to it. We do usually put a game in the background of this podcast when we don't have like set topics, but today we kind of wanted to address Alien Earth, and I wanted to address the Doctor Who news that we've basically been released. Is it today or yesterday? Was it released, the Doctor Who stuff?
The new information was today, yeah.
Yeah. So Doctor, get that out of the way. And to be fair, just being excited that Dawn of War 4 got announced is like enough for me at this point. It is just, I can't believe that not only have I got this year, not only have we just got like a remastered version of the original game with 64-bit engine, updated graphics and everything. We're getting a 4th game in the franchise. Like, it's just been announced. And it's being made by a studio that I actually have a little bit of trust in, because the other game they've made is an RTS that I own and enjoy like a lot. Like, I enjoy the RTS they made a lot. And the biggest feature that's back in this one is sync kills. For those who don't know what that is, it means that when the dev interview, it's not just sync kills, it's sync fight animations, where every single unit in a squad will fight every other unit in the squad. Like, they will fight as a proper, like, the units will blend into each other and fight each other properly. And they have sync kills, which is when, one unit is like, in low enough health. The other unit will do like a cool kill animation. Which there'll only be like 4 or 5. There's only like 4 or 5 of them, possibly, per unit. Though they talked about hundreds of animations per unit, like combination of animations. But the idea being that you might only see them, so for each unit, like, each unit's combination, you're going to see them over and over again. But it's seeing those cool in the middle of a fight, watching, like, say, a dreadnought just pick up, like, this commander that's been, like, just charged at it, and then shook him across the battlefield. You know what I mean? Instead of, like, in most RTS games where it's just, you just watch these two dudes hit each other for, like, a couple of minutes, and then a dude falls over dead because he's run out of health. You get what I mean?
Yeah, it's not a fun animation setup.
No. Whereas in this case, we're getting sync kills where instead it's two dudes dueling each other, having a proper fight, and the one that wins does like a fancy finish. By, like, maybe like, I remember one of the ones for Dawn of War 1 for the Avatar of Cain versus the Bloodthirster, where if the Bloodthirster wins the fight, the Bloodthirster basically smacks the Avatar of Cain, like, sword out of its hand, and I believe, if I remember correctly, the animation is it stabs the Bloodthirster grabs the sword and stabs the Avatar of Cain with its own weapon to finish it off before it explodes and dies.
Yeah.
And it's like, even though I'm going to see the animations like those, like about the same one multiple times, it's still cool in the middle of a fight just to watch this random dude jump on a dreadnought and just, like, plant a bomb and jump off it and watch it explode. Like on that lucky time a unit beats a dreadnought in combat. And I'm like, I'm all here for that, because those lucky sync kills where you get those little cool things, it's just seeing these cool little animations in the middle of a fight. So yeah, and considering all the pre-alpha testers of people that have, like, channels, like YouTube channels that just do RTS games and strategy games, that have gotten a chance to play it have all basically said the same thing. The game feels like Dawn of War 1 and Dawn of War 2 had a baby. It feels like this is the Dawn of War 3 we wanted.
Yeah. You were saying earlier.
That's what makes me happy. It's just to see games like for example, there's Dawn of War, a game rising from the ashes. A franchise rising from the ashes of a bad third game. A game we were discussing earlier that I said I want to try and replay. No Man's Sky, a game that came out, was terrible at launch, and rose from the ashes by just the devs going, we're going to put our own money into this because we really love this project and we want this to succeed. So we're going to put our money in it. And yeah, in all honesty, I like seeing stuff that's good. I like stuff like this being back. And also, what I am going to say, we will see you next week. If you want to watch the VOD, it will be uploaded to YouTube.
Yeah. We're doing a little bit different now.
It will be uploaded to YouTube. Normally, it would be recorded onto YouTube. It will be on YouTube already. Unfortunately, we've had a bit of issues today where we couldn't get it to stream to YouTube, so I'm going to have to upload it manually later. We have recorded this episode. So we will be back in 2 weeks as usual for this podcast. We do this every 2 weeks. If you want to watch the VODs, they are over on the YouTube channel. This one will be live later today. It will be live as soon as it's uploaded. But we thank you for watching. Follow the channel. Be notified when we're live. As you look at the channel schedule, there's a stream every Sunday. I do stream every Sunday. I may start streaming on the Wednesdays that we don't do this podcast. The Wednesdays, the Thursdays we don't do this podcast sometimes. But for now, it's just Sunday streams and every 2 weeks the podcast. So we've been. This is the Not Your Heroes podcast. This is in episode 2 of season 2, and the production values have really gone up through the roof.
We've spent all our Disney money already.
Yeah, Disney hired us. We spent all the money. And anyway,
we spent it all on AI graphics.
Well, you did. I didn't. But anyway, we will be back. We'll be back soon, and we'll be back, as I say, in 2 weeks for this podcast. I'll be back on Sunday with a regular scheduled stream. I'm not sure what I'm going to stream this Sunday, so I haven't decided yet. But goodbye, and I bid you adieu. Say goodbye, Jax.
Goodbye, Jax.